Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Phil Campbell, welcome to The Razor's Edge.
Thank you.
You and the Bastard Sons, you release your third studio album this week, tomorrow at time of recording. So most fans at this point in time probably haven't heard the album in full yet, but what's the reaction been to the singles from the fans that you've released so far?
Excellent. I think we have all round. I mean, the album reviews as well, they've all been fantastic, saying it's by a long way our best album, and the singles have been, blitzing ahead. Everyone loves the singles, so I'm really excited for the entire project, and looking forward to tomorrow when it gets in the shops.
Absolutely. So you mentioned the reviews as well. Do you pay a lot of attention to press for your album releases?
Well, I read the reviews, and luckily, all these have been fantastic.
Yeah.
We do a fair amount of interviews, to promote the album and stuff. It's got to be done and that. But I take note of what's said. Sometimes I might agree with it stuff, and other times I might not. But everyone's entitled to their opinions, and that's fair enough. But luckily, I got no complaints this time round.
all positive so far, then.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
So just looking back to the start of the band, where did the idea come from to form a band with your children?
It was Todd's 30th birthday party, and we hired a club in Cardiff, and we hired a band to play. And then Neil Starr was there as well, and we decided to just get up, and me and my sons, and just do a couple of songs, and it sounded good, and we had a lot of fun. So it started there really, and we just got together then and just did some cover versions, and then we got a gig at Bloodstock, and we were just playing our favorite cover songs, and my favorite cover songs at that time, and then we sadly then, but when Lem passed away and we finished Motörhead, I had to think for a few months. So I was going to retire. It was a bit of a grey area for a while. I've been with Lem for so long, and we just started writing our own material then, and we changed the name to the Bastard Sons. We played a big stage, main stage, I think, at Wacken, and we dropped a big banner that day, and that's when the actual Bastard Sons was born. But we've been going out since the start. It's just over 10 years, I think.
Yeah, and in that 10-year period, have you ever had any regrets of bringing your sons on board with you?
No, they're all amazing musicians, and they deserve to play some of these big stages and get the experience. If it's not with me, that they would have done it elsewhere, or on their own. They've all been in other bands and stuff. They got so many talents. They're great in music. Todd produced this album again. His production on this album is amazing.
Yeah.
And all the instrumentation's fantastic. No regrets. We have a good laugh now. Yeah. We get a bit fed up with being at airports this summer, but the summer fests are finished now, so it's slowing down slightly. We've got 3 weeks in Europe coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks off before the UK jaunt. And then I'm going to be done for a few months then. A well-earned break.
Yeah, a nice break.
Yeah.
So how does it compare touring with your sons as to touring with the likes of Lemmy and that?
Well, it's entirely different. I mean, for start now, I don't drink anymore. I haven't had a sip of alcohol for like 5 years.
That's good.
So that changes things around a lot. Um, it's different, really. Like, we travel. It's a bigger crew before. It's a different situation. There's different people around and everything, but we still get through it, and we still have a good time, and we still get up on stage and play a hell of a set of rock and roll at the end of it.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it all worthwhile. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And for the creative input for the albums, how much comes from yourself and how much comes from the lads themselves?
A load of it comes from the lads. I mean, Todd usually starts things off. He's writing stuff constantly, and when it's time to start getting some stuff together for a new album, I mean, he'll come in with songs which are like completed musically, or three quarters completed, or half completed, or killer riffs, and I come up with a few things then, and some middle eights and my own ideas and riffs, and
yeah.
Tyler comes up with some big great bass grooves, and Dane's trying out all the different rhythms and stuff like that, and so it's a proper band. I think Todd probably does the bulk of it, the writing.
Yeah,
I'm quite lazy now in my old age, but I do contribute quite a lot as well, but we all bounce off each other's strengths and weaknesses, like, to make it work.
Absolutely.
And and to bring Joel in on this, it's fantastic to have Joel on this new record, his first recordings with us. So I just left Todd and Joel in the studio by themselves. I didn't want to go in because I knew I'd be a hindrance, interfere. Sometimes it's best to do that. I knew Todd would get the best out of Joel, and I just let him to it. And I think when you hear the album, the results will speak for itself. He sang amazing.
Absolutely.
On this record, and some great hooks and everything. Like, so far so good on everything.
Yeah,
can't complain.
Great. So after all of these years in the business, where do you still find the inspiration to write new material from?
I don't know. It just comes from within somehow. That's an age-old question. I tend to just listen to my old stuff from the past. I still listen to Floyd and Sabbath and Jimmy Page and all that type of stuff. I put on local radio stations now and again, and if the more modern stuff, I mean, I wait for the boys. The boys will say, "Oh, there's a new song or a new band. I will listen to this, Dad." But I don't go out and try and discover new stuff.
Yeah.
I just like to take it easy now with my dogs and sit back and watch TV and things. So really boring, actually.
It comes to us all, doesn't it? So obviously you're in the later stages of your career, and your songs are considerably younger. So when it comes a point where you decide you're going to retire, will the band continue without you?
I don't know. I'd like to think they think about it. They could go out as the Phil Campbell's Bastard Sons, or the Bastard Sons, or whatever. Like, it's up to them. But they contributed now. They becoming like fan favorites in themselves. They work so hard on stage, and the fans are appreciating them a lot more now than at the start, I think. And they're very friendly with a lot of the fans, and I am, as much as I can be as well. But they interact more on the social medias and things more than I do, because it gets a bit complicated for me. I'm old school, like, you know, really. But I don't know. I don't know, but I can't see me. I'm 62 now. I don't think I'll be playing like when I'm 80. I'll have to slow down a little bit at some point.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking about anything like that at this stage. But it's the traveling that kills you. It's not it's not a stage performance so much. It's the downtime and the traveling time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Being in
know.
a van for miles on end, hours on end.
Yeah. You know, it gets a bit more difficult as you get older. But there you go.
Absolutely.
It come to us all.
So I just want to jump back to the start of your career, really, and ask what when did you first pick up a guitar, and what was the journey into this crazy world like for you?
I probably picked up a guitar first when I was about 8 or 9 or 10 or something. Yeah, I borrowed a guitar off my cousin and just messed about with it. And then I had a couple of bands in school. Then I was drumming in a cabaret band for 6 years, going on to workmen's clubs, playing cabaret music. Then I had another band doing cover versions, and then I formed Persian Risk. And then from Persian Risk, after 5 years, I was lucky enough to join Motörhead.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah, and I think we all know that Motörhead story, and Lemmy was such a larger than life character. But what was it like to be in a band with him?
He was great. There's no airs and graces with Lem on that thing. He was just one of the fellas. Like, he was as good as gold, really fair. He just said, "I totally trust you musically, Phil. Just don't wear shorts on stage." Because I think Brian Robertson had been wearing a pair or two of shorts on tour, on stage, and it didn't sit well with a Motörhead image. Like, so that was the only thing he said to me, and I never did. I never did in all them years. You know, that's pretty cool. But we had a great sense of humor as well. Like, you know, and you need that. You know, that's part of the reason why we stayed together so long.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Taking the mickey out of people and unsuspecting people and being a little devilish here and there. We used to love it.
Yeah, and you were well known for it. I think Lemmy.
I did a few. Yeah, I did a few pranks here and there.
Yeah. There's been a few Motörhead releases over the last few years. How involved are you with them and in the Motörhead estate in general?
Yeah, well, we listen. We try and dig things up, and me and Mickey take a listen, and then we say if it's good enough to go out or not. As simple as that, really. You know,
Yes.
we find in bits and pieces all the time somewhere. You know, and so we okay everything.
Yeah, so it is you and both you and Mickey do have that involvement, and it's not just a label
Oh yeah,
on the Motörhead name.
no. Yeah, we're involved with everything. Yeah.
Brilliant. So back on the Bastard Sons, you've mentioned you're going on a Euro jaunt in a few weeks, and then you've got your headline tour of the UK. So for anyone who may not have seen the Bastard Sons before, what can they expect from a live show from you?
Well, I'm told it's still pretty loud these days. I'm sure it's not as loud as Motorhead, but I'm told it's loud. Just good modern classic hard rock, nice and tight. You can dance about and stamp your feet and have a great night out.
Yeah.
With some killer songs and some good people around here.
Absolutely. And after that, what's next for you and the band? What have you got plans well into 2024?
Yeah, the festival season is already starting to get booked up.
Yeah.
We may, I can't say who, but we may have a chance of supporting a really big star in January from February in Europe, but I'm not at liberty to say who it is at the moment. But that might tour, that might come off. But we normally don't do much January and February anyway, so but just sort of kept blank kind of thing for us to recuperate. But if this tour does happen, we'll jump on that as well. But yeah, things are getting booked up for next year. You know, that's the way they do it these days. The promoters, they all want plenty of time to sell the tickets and promote.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so my final question for you today, you've been in this industry a long time. If you could go back and do any single thing differently, what would it be?
What would it be?
If anything at all, really.
Yeah, get a good manager from the start. We got a great manager eventually, but it took a long time.
And that's going back to the Motörhead days, is it?
Yeah, early Motörhead days. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, Phil, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Your new album comes out tomorrow as we're talking, but by the time people hear this, it should have been out a couple of days already. So I wish you every luck with this album. It is a great album. I've been listening to it this week. And it, as you said at the start of the interview, it is probably one of your best albums, especially as the Bastard Sons.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah. Well, good luck, and come and say hello on the tour if you can make it.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.